Hello everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of my brand new channel, Blaster Garage, where I take free or cheap foam blasters that I get on the internet and then tinker with them to make interesting one-of-a-kind projects. Now the first few videos are just going to be tours of my already finished projects, and that's because I didn't actually get the idea to start a YouTube channel about these things until I'd already finished a few. But going forward after those first few, I'll actually film the whole process and kind of let you guys in on what kind of work goes into these things, because I don't have a 3D printer. I don't know how to 3D print. This is just me and my Home Depot Pro card and cutting up different kinds of guns to put on things that I think will look good or work well. This first project that I want to share with you guys is what I like to call the Fury X Overwatch Carbine. Now, the X-Shot Fury X, for those of you that are familiar with it, basically starts life as a machine pistol. As you can see, this looks pretty different now. I'll take you through some of the features that I've added and how I went about it, and then we'll do some plinking. All right, let me take you through some of these features in more detail. Now, if you're not as familiar with the Fury X right out of the box, that is basically the stock blaster here. It's sort of a machine pistol type of look. It's kind of like a bullpup MP7, I guess would be the closest comparison I could think of. When I got the Fury X, there were two things that I noticed right away. Number one, the internals on the blaster are ridiculously good. I didn't mess with the internals at all on this thing because, you know, honestly, it was equal odds that I would have just made it worse. So it's really good out of the box. I didn't feel the need to add a stiffer spring or anything. The second thing I noticed is I don't like having to grab this entire top piece because this is all priming mechanism here. You have to grab that whole thing and pull it back every single time to prime and fire the blaster. So I thought, you know, maybe this thing wants to be a rifle. So I decided to make it bolt action instead. Partly because I just thought it would look good. Rule of cool, obviously always a factor. But also because bolt action is just my favorite kind of rifle to shoot. My favorite rifle, IRL rifle, is a Mosin Nagant. It's a super old rifle. Literally saw action on the Eastern Front in World War II. You basically have to spank it to cycle the bolt, but it just had so much character. I love it. Bolt action to me is like the manual transmission of rifles. So I decided to take apart two different Nerf Alpha Rogues, which, if you're not familiar with them, they're super cheap blasters, probably the cheapest on the market that Nerf has right now. But they are actually bolt action, so you have to like bring it up, pull back, bring it forward, and then slap it back down again. So I took apart two different Nerf Alpha Rogues because I needed this to be quite a bit longer. I think this is where the stock one stopped. I shaved off the plastic bolt handle and just put this bolt through it and added some gold PEX fittings. These are plumbing fittings. You can get them at Home Depot or Canadian Tire or anywhere. Not only does it look good, but it's also adding a lot of weight to it, which actually helps to smooth out the priming. I secured that using a plunger tube and a priming rail. I think this is from a Nerf Mega XL Twin Strike that I got that from, that I took apart for something else. But this is the part on the front that'll probably be the biggest sort of internal modification that I've made, or functional modification that I've made, I should say, which is this is another plunger tube with a spring in it. So this is a spring-assisted bolt action mechanism. And the reason I did that is because if you go from grabbing the whole priming mechanism and pulling it back every single time to really only pulling on one side of it, which is what you're doing with the bolt action mechanism, you're going to end up sort of twisting it and creating opposing forces, and that's going to stress the system. It's not going to be as smooth, and whatever the weakest link over here is probably going to break after a few uses. So by having this spring mechanism actually actively pushing back on the bolt, and giving you a little bit of help pulling it back, that actually smooths it out quite a bit, de-stresses the system, so you can be pulling only on one side, but the whole thing goes back smoothly. The trick is to find a spring that is strong enough to give you the help and de-stress the system, but it's not so strong that it's actually pushing you out of battery at rest, because obviously you don't want the thing just hanging out here, so it's not fully coming all the way forward so you can fire it. Over here, is the stock. Now, the stock is from a Raptor Strike, a Nerf Raptor Strike, which I attached to behind the mag well here, because you have to have room if you're going to put a stock on this of any kind, whether you're 3D printing it or just putting it together like I did out of other pieces. You have to be able to move this priming mechanism all the way back and forward every single time. So you can't mount it anywhere where it's interfering with that. So I figured out a way to mount this behind the mag well using this sort of in-between piece, which is part of the folding stock from a CS6 Alpha Trooper. You might recognize the piece that moves around and then clicks in. So I sent a few bolts through there, some eyelet bolts down here, which I attached to the stock down here where it opens up, and then stuck a few bolts in through the back here. That I can screw in behind the mag here, because there's nothing here in the gun that you're interfering with out of the box besides just a secondary mag release, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. You've got a really nice ambidextrous mag release here behind the handle. So I didn't really care about drilling into this and messing that up, because I'm never going to use it anyway. The foregrip here, I love this. I didn't want to use a full foregrip, because it would have been so close to the normal handle. Having a full foregrip just like 3.5 inches in front of where I'm holding the normal handle, it didn't feel comfortable. So this low profile foregrip, where it just gives me a nice comfortable place to put about 3 fingers on the front of the blaster when I'm firing it, to keep it nice and tight against my shoulder, so I can steady it and aim and fire, was perfect. Now this is actually the belt clip from an aftermarket Nerf magazine that I got in just one of those sort of $10 lots where you just get a garbage bag of assorted Nerf guns and aftermarket pieces and other stuff. So that was attached to the bottom of an aftermarket mag, which I didn't really like on that. The aftermarket mag went on another project, but as soon as I saw this, I was like, that looks exactly like a low profile foregrip, which is exactly what I want in this gun. So there you go. The barrel extension, this was another modulus piece. I think it came from the same CS6 Alpha Trooper that I put this piece in from. And I was actually going to put the whole attachment on the front of this blaster, but when I took the shell off to paint it, I just saw this sort of raw skeletal look, and I just loved it. It almost kind of reminds me of an RPK. The only complaint I have about it was that it wasn't quite long enough, so I just shaved around the end here and put this plunger tube on. I think that came from the Twin Strike as well, or maybe something else. Anyways, it's a plunger tube from something. So I shaved that down, super glued this on, and it's good to go. The paint scheme, I don't know, just showed up one day. I got 500 headshots, and then all of a sudden it's just red camo. Now, it's obviously not the most functional camouflage for real life, but you know, if somebody ever starts a gunfight with me in a Build-A-Bear on Valentine's Day, they are hosed. All right, now for the fun part, I'm going to show you how this thing shoots. Now, I'm going to set up an interval timer. I'm going to do a really simple drill. Every time I hear a beep, I'm going to do a mag check, 2 to the chest, 1 to the head, from about 6 meters away. Now, I find my Fury X pulls to the left a little bit at this distance. I don't know if that's a consistent thing with Fury X's, but I find I can accommodate for it just by tilting the rifle a little bit to the left. This is not unheard of. It's not something I'm completely unfamiliar with. In fact, a lot of guys with AR platforms will run backup iron sights that are mounted at about a 45-degree angle on their rifle, because if their optic goes down, they have it as backup, or if they have their optic on top zeroed for like 400 yards, something really far away, but they want the option to be able to engage those closer targets, they can just tilt the rifle. But that's just how I have to shoot this thing all the time.